The Formula One 2026 season is fast approaching. It's time to get some predictions in. I did the constructors already, so make sure you click on the card if you want to see that video. But it's now time for the drivers, and we're going to be doing bold predictions as well, biggest surprises, and who I'm concerned for ahead of the brand new season. Now, let me just start off by saying this. The competition is outrageous. The top four teams, and that includes Ferrari, Mercedes, Red Bull, and McLaren. I tell you what, there's not much between these two. I mean four teams. And we're talking six top quality drivers. And yet, for some strange reason, I've decided to do the top three, who I think will finish P1, P2, and P3 in the Drivers' Championship. And I tell you something, I've spent days trying to work this one out. But in third place in the Drivers' Championship, we're going to kick things off with Sir Lewis Hamilton. Absolutely correct. The reason I've gone for Lewis Hamilton is because I genuinely just think he's locked in. I genuinely think that he's ready to go this year. He knows that this is his final year. He knows this is the final year for him to be really relevant in terms of fighting for championships. He's not fought for a championship in what feels like ages, obviously since the debacle in 2021. But this is now the time for you to lock in, Lewis. This is the time now to show people that you are the greatest of all time. Listen, I have him amongst the GOATs anyway, alongside Michael Schumacher. And who knows what Ayrton Senna could have become had he not passed away so soon. But with Max Verstappen still in Formula One, and then of course there's your current Formula One world champion Lando Norris, I think this is make or break for Lewis Hamilton in 2026. This year has to work. If he doesn't make it work in 2026, I think this is the end. As far as him fighting for championships, I can hear some of you guys complaining already, saying, what are you talking about? We're talking about Lewis Hamilton here, the greatest of all time. He's got the relationship with Kim Kardashian. Does that mean he's locked in, or does that mean he's locked out? I truly don't know. I genuinely don't know what way to think about it. Recently, I've been watching his previous championship seasons, season F1 reviews. And don't get me wrong, he's grown a lot. He's changed a lot. But the demeanor of him, he was all about winning. He was all about fighting. He was all about doing things by any means necessary. Those clashes with Nico Rosberg and Valtteri Bottas, there was a time where Lewis Hamilton was so in the zone, it was actually unbelievable. But the question I've got is, can he bring some of that stillness? Can he bring some of that dog, that fight in him for the 2026 season? Because he's going to need it. And it looks like from testing, Ferrari have got a half decent car. But we know, and we've been here time and time again, people, okay? Ferrari always have a decent car. Ferrari always have a decent car in testing. They are the testing champions. And especially when there's brand new regulations, and you look to the first testing of those brand new regulations, Ferrari don't miss. But let me ask you the serious question. When was the last time Ferrari had a Formula One world champion? Exactly. It was so long ago. It was before Lewis Hamilton's first championship. And that was in 2008. The fact you have to go back to the Kimi Raikkonen days, 2007, in order to talk about a Ferrari world championship is just purely shambolic. And Ferrari are like the Manchester United of Formula One, a team with all the history, with all the trophies, all the accolades, right? And with all the facilities, all the money in the world. They could do so much. And yet this is what they serve up every single year, just underachieving after underachieving. But it's 2026. It is a brand new regulation. The car looks good. Lewis Hamilton looks fresh. He looks ready. He's smiling again. That's always a good sign. And I genuinely think he's going to get some race wins. He's going to be on the podium quite often in that Ferrari. I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait to see Lewis Hamilton looking great because it's been too long. P2 in the Drivers' Championship, I have to go with George Russell. Wait a minute, Peter. Did you not predict earlier on that George Russell will be your Formula One world champion? I did do that about a week ago, but let me tell you something, okay? As new information comes out, as things roll on, as I've got more time to think, my decision can change. And let me tell you something right now. George Russell is not going to be your world champion, as I predicted earlier. However, P2 in the Drivers' Championship for George Russell, that is pretty phenomenal. He's reached the peak of his career. Last year, he was quite consistent. Okay, he wasn't in the title race. He wasn't in the title fight, but I don't think he finished outside the top 5 last season in terms of race weekends. And it looks like Mercedes, by all the noise, by all the news, all the media, all the prop and rumor, it seems like the Mercedes car is one of the fastest cars on the grid this season. It looks like they've nailed the packages, they've nailed the new regulations, and it looks like they're about to go and send it off to a rocket. It looks like they're going for liftoff, but I do wonder, has George got it in him? Can he withstand the pressure when the moment is there, when the title is on the line, when the race wins are there? We've seen this man crack under pressure before, and last year, to be honest, there was no pressure on him whatsoever. Okay, number one driver against Kimi Antonelli. I think Kimi Antonelli's going to have a good season as well. I think he's going to be very, very decent. But George Russell, the moment is going to count where you have to be held accountable. Can you put the race wins back to back? Can you get 25 points on any given month, any given Sunday? Can you fulfill the potential that Mercedes seem to have in 2026? It remains to be seen. The longer I've been thinking about it, the more I'm starting to think, actually, will he actually do it? Because I'm not too sure. But the man is Mr. Saturday. He's Mr. Consistent. I'll give him all of that. And let me tell you something. If you finish P2 in the Drivers' Championship, you would have had to have some consistency over the course of the season. And I do believe he'll do extremely well. P2 is not a laugh for him. Think about the names I haven't mentioned in this top three so far. One of them, if not two or even three of them, are going to be missing out on the championship. And you have to ask yourself, how on earth has George Russell and Lewis Hamilton finished above these drivers? George Russell will have an outstanding season. Let's be very, very clear. It's going to be brilliant. He's going to have race wins. He's going to be on the podium. I'm telling you, the race wins this season are going to be a mixture of different drivers. It's going to be a mixture of different teams. And just when I was locking into the George Russell hype, just when I was looking into thinking George Russell can do this, my mind has changed. There's a part of me that reminds myself of the fact that under pressure, will he be able to fulfill his potential? I still have flashbacks of what took place in Singapore when he was holding it down and then all of a sudden lost control of the car. And in a title fight, listen, that can't run. But let's go on to my Formula One world champion in 2026. I know what you're thinking. You're an idiot, Peter. Whoever it is you decide, you're a moron because you're either leaving out one of Charles Leclerc, you're leaving out Max Verstappen, you're leaving out Lando Norris. It could be any one of those drivers. Well, let me tell you something right now, okay? The man who's going to be your 2026 Formula One world champion is going to be Oscar Piastri. Absolutely correct. He's going to start things off in Australia. He's going to be the first Australian to get on the podium. He's going to be the first Australian to win the Grand Prix. And that's going to set the pace for 2026. 2025 was full of ups and downs for Oscar Piastri. He was probably the best that we've ever seen him in Formula One, but he was also at his very worst at the same time. We saw him fall off a cliff towards the end of the season. He did restore it with a couple of races to go, maybe the last three races to go. He did restore it, and I do believe that Oscar Piastri is still there. The Oscar Piastri that came back, that bounced back from adversity. If you remember in 2025, Oscar Piastri was at the Australian Grand Prix, and it completely went away from him. He was in P2, I think it was, and it completely went away. He finished his P9, okay? That was heartbreaking. What did he do for the rest of the season? The guy started collecting points. He started collecting podiums. He started getting on pole position. He was winning race after race after race. This guy was flying in 2025, lest we forget. Because of the downfall that was so huge, because of the cliff that he fell off, it's easy to forget how good he actually was in 2025. Oscar was locked in. Now, I've been hearing he's changed his management team. He's changed sort of his coaching and everything like that. And whether that's just because he wants something better, he wants something fresh, he wants something new. Look, Oscar looks rejuvenated. Oscar looks like he's ready to go again. We're looking at a driver who we don't really see him get too high nor too low, okay? He's somewhere in the middle. He seems to be steady, and that's going to be very, very important for a Formula One world champion. And listen, his teammate Lando Norris won the championship last year. To lose the title to your teammate, and even then, in a two-horse race that Oscar Piastri was in, he finished third. That is bad. But it doesn't mean it's over. It doesn't mean that the season's finished. It doesn't mean that his career in Formula One is finished. In fact, it's just begun. Oscar Piastri is going to be absolutely phenomenal. He's going to kill it in 2026. And you know what else is hilarious about this whole thing? McLaren. Nobody's talking about McLaren. I'm seeing people predicting them P4, P3 in the Drivers' Championship. Sorry, the Constructors' Championship. Are you guys crazy? Are you guys sure? This is a team that have won two back-to-back Constructors' Championship, and I'm seeing them behind the Mercedes, behind the Red Bull, behind the Ferrari. You must be out your damn mind. Listen, McLaren are going to win the Constructors again. They've got the best driver pairing on the grid. And if there's one thing McLaren do well when it comes to upgrading their car, when it comes to learning about their car, we're going to be seeing tons and tons of upgrades from all various teams. But let me tell you something, execution is what matters. It does not matter about what upgrades you have. Can you execute them to your car? Do you know your car well enough? The McLaren boys and girls, the people in the back who are working on that car every single week, they know exactly their car well. They know exactly what they need to make that car tick. And let me tell you something, that McLaren is going to get better and better over the course of the season. And you know what? So too will Oscar Piastri. There are so many things that Oscar Piastri is going to want to redeem himself of, okay? Especially with what took place last year. There is no way that he's just going to sit back and just let what took place in 2025 and let it continue on in 2026. Absolutely not. Losing the championship to his teammate, finishing third in a two-horse race. You will not see that happen again in 2026. Oscar Piastri is locked in. He's ready to go. He's going to be a Formula One world champion. And I know midway point in the season last year, I predicted that it was finished, it was done, it was over, and then Oscar fell off like a cliff. But let me tell you something right now, I was wrong last year. This year, I can't be wrong for the second year running. Oscar Piastri is going to be your Formula One world champion. He's going to take the bull by the horns and he's going to absolutely rev that McLaren car right to the end. We know he's talented. We know he's top notch. He's an absolutely phenomenal driver. So let's not pretend that what I'm saying is that crazy, really. The crazy part is the fact that I haven't got Max Verstappen in my top three. That is a bit nuts. Even me thinking about it right now. Do I take Lewis Hamilton out of this? Do I take George Russell? No, no, no. I'm going to keep to my predictions, right? There's no Max Verstappen. There's no Lando Norris, who is your current Formula One world champion. Charles Leclerc, he's not even there. He's not even getting a mention. Listen, I've left a lot of drivers off the table, but I genuinely think Oscar Piastri has got the bottle. He's got what it takes to become Formula One world champion. He learned a lot last season, and that's the thing people don't need to underestimate, right? In failure, there's a lot of things you can learn in that moment, and I reckon Oscar Piastri learned a hell of a lot in his downtime last season, in the winter, and the fact that he's just low-key. I have not heard a peep from him this year. That always smells good to me. And the Mercedes power unit, you know, we're going to get the top version of it now. The A-spec version is going to be brought to the McLarens as well as the other customer teams. I'll tell you something right now. It shouldn't be a surprise, but McLaren are going to shock the Formula One world in 2026. Now, let's get into my biggest surprise of the season. The biggest surprise in 2026 is going to be Alpine. Absolutely, because what I saw took place in testing, I was like, hang on a minute, Alpine? What do you mean that Alpine is doing good? What do you mean that Alpine is reliable? What do you mean it's doing laps? It's covering kilometers? I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And since this is a driver's episode, Pierre Gasly, let me tell you something right now. Pierre Gasly is going to cook in 2026. I've always thought that Pierre Gasly, right, has the talent, but the car has never matched his talent. Regardless where he was, AlphaTauri, Toro Rosso, even when he was at Red Bull. I mean, the Red Bull obviously was like, you know, it was hard to work with. And it was a shame to see him lose his seat so quick and so early. But then when I look at him now in the Alpine, I'm thinking, man, this guy's just wasting talent. When he signed that new contract last year, I thought to myself, it's done for him. But now all of a sudden, Flavio Briatore has come in and said, no, 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 we need to sort things out. We need to cut this mess out. And fair play to him. And I tell you something, if they give Pierre Gasly a car, that man right there is going to be your biggest surprise in 2026. Bro, I'm even talking podiums. Like, I think there could be a way that he might even sneak into the podium depending on how everybody else goes. The Mercedes power unit is now in that Alpine, and all of a sudden it looks like a brand new car. How bad was that Renault engine? The very fact that Alpine are literally from Renault and got rid of their own engine, it tells you everything you need to know about that situation there. But to see Pierre Gasly back on that podium again, guys, scenes of glorious emotion. Yeah, I don't know what it is, man. I just got a good feeling about Gasly and Alpine and Mercedes engine together. I just don't get it. I reckon the fact that the Alpine will finish ahead of the midfield. I think they'll be the front runner of the midfield, P5 in the Constructors' Championship. Now I'm sitting there thinking, yo, Pierre Gasly could be collecting some serious points. And listen, Colin Pinto, the pressure's on, mate. If there's a car that's deliverable for you and you do not still deliver those points, oh, it's going to be big, big trouble. But let me tell you something, yeah? It is a surprise. Alpine in the top 5, that's a surprise. Pierre Gasly being a big surprise in 2026, that's a huge surprise. Anything good to say about Alpine is already a surprise. And they've shocked the hell out of me in testing. Albeit it's just testing. But just watch these first couple of races and let me tell you something. You guys are going to be coming back saying, you know what? Alpine might be doing something this year. What am I most looking forward to seeing this season? I want to see like the Cadillac, the Audi of it all. I want to see how they improve. I want to see how they progress over the course of the season. They're not going to start off strong, but I think they're going to be bringing upgrades every now and again. And I just want to see how well they get on this season. In Cadillac, you've got Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas, okay? Two drivers that, honestly, the amount of laps they've done combined, the amount of race wins they've had together, the amount of points they've accumulated over the course of their Formula One careers, honestly, like there's something to be said about Cadillac, and they've got some people in there as well that I'm thinking, hey, listen, they brought some experience in there. I see Graham Lauder's there as well. Those two Cadillac drivers, man, I want to see how they progress. I want to see where they start off in Melbourne and how they finish in Abu Dhabi. I want to see how well they get over the course of the season. And I'm hoping big things for Cadillac in the future when they bring their own power unit as well. And as for Audi, do you know what? Like, I look at their car and I still think like it's actually one of the best looking liveries on the grid because it's so crazy. It's so out of this world. It's very, very creative. It's very out of the box. And in Formula One, we've got so accustomed to just everybody copying each other, everything being quite samey. And then when I look at that Audi and I look at that sort of that silver, that grey, attached with that red orangey kind of color, the black's there as well. Like there's so many things that are striking about that livery and striking about that car. And you know, Gabriel Bortoleto, I want to see how he gets on in 2026. I want to see how much further he progresses. Remember, Nico Hulkenberg finally got his first podium in Formula One last year at Silverstone. How will he do in this brand new car? You can't go wrong with a driver like as experienced as Nico Hulkenberg, as well as having that young, fresh rookie. Remember, Formula 2 champion Gabriel Bortoleto. And it sounds like I'm reeling off all these teams, but you know what, though? Adrian Newey's car, first car in 2026. I have to see it. I've got to see what it's going to do over the course of the year. I know they've had a horrendous testing, but I do think over the course of the year, they're going to get it right. They've got good personnel in there. They've got Fernando Alonso, who is still a top driver. And you see, Williams, will they actually overcome the hurdle that they had in Barcelona? Will they actually overcome and actually be a team that is very serious in 2026? They put all their eggs into the 2026 basket, but we have to wait and see whether or not they can actually be serious. A couple of drivers I'm concerned for. Let's start things off with Liam Lawson, okay? You're hanging on by a thread. You're on thin ice over there at Racing Bull. And the reason I say that is because, look, Racing Bulls this season, I don't even know where I think they're going to finish, right? Arvid Lindblad, rookie, so we're going to leave him and park him to the side. But in terms of Liam Lawson, remember, he's been around. He's been around a little bit, okay? He's a lot older as well. He's not a young buck. He has to stand out this season. He has to be relevant. I need to see something from Liam Lawson that makes me think, do you know what? This is a good driver. He should be here. It's annoying I can't put Lance Stroll in this mix because we all know why. But Franco Colapinto, the time is ticking if you don't shape up. Flavio Briatore, I know he loves him, but let me tell you something. If you can see a driver that can win in races, if you can see in the driver market somebody else, he will go for that driver, no doubt about it. Franco Colapinto, a bit like Liam Lawson, been here a little while now where we're not seeing anything come through. So this is the year. This is the time for him to shape up and get ready. Otherwise, it'll be peak for these drivers. But those are my predictions ahead of the 2026 Formula One season. Let me tell you something. If you want to debate, let's get into the comment section down there. Of course, Oscar Piastri is going to be your Formula One world champion, and I can't believe I'm even saying that to a degree. It was George Russell all winter, January, February, but now we're in March, and I'm starting to get a bit tingly. I'm starting to feel something else. Something is telling me that Oscar Piastri is going to do it for McLaren this season. And here's the thing, speaking on McLaren, the Constructors' Championship. Who is going to win the Constructors' Championship? Will McLaren make it 3 years in a row? We'll check this video over here to find out more. But until next time, lights out.